Hello and welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started now that we have a majority of the council here. I suspect a couple more people will be joining us shortly. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes from February. Yesterday, some revisions were sent out. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read those. Does anyone have any questions or objections to the minutes from February? Kim?
So I spaced that the last name is still saying Smith. It should be changed to Lucas. That's it. That's the only change.
Any other questions or changes on the minutes from February? Okay. Then do I have a motion to accept the minutes with the aforementioned changes?
Kim says, I motion to approve the minutes with the corrections.
And may I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Larry. All in favor of approving the minutes with the mentioned corrections, please raise your hand. And any opposed? Okay, the minutes are passed. Thank you, everyone. As we go through, or actually I'll have you all leave your cameras on. The next one is voting on new members. The executive committee has, hang on, let me add a couple people to our meeting. Okay. All right. So we sent last week, I sent out an email with a couple of people that we would like to add to the council. The executive committee recommends both of these individuals, Sharon James and Joe Helfrich, to join the council. And we need the council to vote whether they approve this recommendation or not.
And can you repeat the last name of Joe?
It's Helfrich, H-E-L-F-R-I-C-H.
Thank you.
I may not be pronouncing it correctly. Any questions or comments about these individuals before we vote? Okay, I'm not seeing any. May I have a motion to, oh wait, Stephen?
I am in support of both Joe and Sharon. I think we need more deaf and hard of hearing than hearing members on the council. We don't want to be out of balance. So I would encourage the executive committee to encourage more deaf and hard of hearing to be a part of the council so that it remains balanced.
Both of these individuals are hard of hearing, and I think will make an excellent addition. And you're right, the bylaws state we need to have at least half the council is deaf or hard of hearing.
And can we spotlight Stephen? And Stephen says, I agree. The issue is that we're seeing more hard of hearing now than we are deaf, and I feel like that's unfair. That number needs to be more equal, that we have just as many deaf as we do hard of hearing. Right now, we're seeing a lot more hard of hearing than deaf on the council.
Stephen, we only have one hard of hearing person on the council.
And he's asking to repeat that, please.
Okay. We only have one hard of hearing individual on the council.
Can you read off the names of who? Read off the members,
What do you mean?
the members of the council.
Just a moment. Melanie, do you have that in front of you?
Yes. Justin is hard of hearing. And then we have Charla, who's hard of hearing. Do you want me to name each member or just hard of hearing members, Stephen? What are you looking for? The new members. Okay, so for new members, one second. Larry Lee, who is hard of hearing. He's the one new member who's hard of hearing. And Stephen's saying that there should be more than that. I know we have 8 or 9 new members that have joined as of late.
Charla is completely 100% deaf.
Pardon me?
Charla is completely 100% deaf now. She has lost all hearing. So the only 2 people that are hard of hearing is myself, Justin, and Larry.
And Stephen's saying no, list more of the members.
Justin. This is Sarah.
So there's Charla. I put her as hard of hearing previously, but now that she's lost all of her hearing, we're counting her as deaf. So I moved her into as deaf. As far as new members, it's just Larry who is hard of hearing. That's it.
Justin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Let me
Oh,
put
don't
the
spotlight me.
Hang on.
Okay. I was just going to add that there are some members that are interpreters and CODA that Stephen might be referring to, that they are outlined in the membership guidelines. And just wanted to suggest that, we can send that out again. I think we're doing our best to balance the committee membership according to the bylaws, and we will make sure that we're meeting those requirements. If that's what he's talking about.
Stephen said, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Melanie says Martin has a comment or
Okay,
question.
Martin.
I move that we accept the 2 nominations for members on the advisory council.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Stephen?
And it looks like he seconded, went a little high, so I wasn't sure if that was a second or a question. Yes, Stephen seconds.
Okay, thank you. Stephen seconds. All right, thank you, Stephen seconds. Let me get the gallery view. All in favor of approving these 2 members, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay. All okay. They are approved. Melanie and I will work with Sarah Brenna to move these two individuals forward. Okay, so for the rest of the meeting, we don't have any more voting to do. So what I would ask is everyone turn their video camera off. So when you have a question or a comment, you can turn your video on and I will be able to see you easier and pull you up. Thank you. So for the next part of the meeting, we will have DSDHH updates led by Arlene.
Hello, everyone. And can you give me rights to screen share? Nice to see everyone wearing green today. And I did I took a screenshot so I can share this on Facebook if everybody's okay with that. Love that everybody's in the spirit of the holiday. I just have a few updates. We're going to try to keep it short. We have some pictures and videos to share, and then I'll turn it over to two managers who will share some updates. We have 4 departments. 2 out of the 4 will give presentations tonight, and then the other 2 will do the following month. So just some updates. We are now nearing 1/4 of the year 2021 already. It's amazing that it's been a year since COVID started. And we're preparing for a new fiscal year 2022. We have several full-time positions that we will soon be posting. If you have any questions, please contact the center. We are working on making those official announcements for both North and the Southern Center. So if you know anyone who's interested in working for us, let us know. As far as COVID-19, we've had our second vaccination clinic. And that was for ages 70 and above, and medical interpreters and those who have permission to get the vaccine. We had 2 successful clinics. Everything went really well. Thank you to Annette Stewart and her team, the CAST team, who really worked diligently to make sure that went. It really takes about 40 hours of staff time, but we want to contribute that to make sure it all ran well. We also have many staff members who are involved in volunteering, as well as the interpreters were there. We're now looking at possibly hosting another clinic, vaccination clinic, for all of the deaf, hard of hearing, and deafblind community members, any age. We don't have the information to share yet. Once that becomes available, we will send out a video advertising that. The center and UAD will have training with the National Association of the Deaf staff, who work with the legislature on a local level. That will happen April 17th, 9 to 4. All managers and supervisors within DSDHH will be a part of that training. And really, we're going to focus in 4 areas. We'll review how a bill becomes a law in Utah. We'll also look at ethics for employees at the center, working with political action, what that looks like. We'll also be discussing the difference between the Deaf Center staff and the UAD board members and how they can support one another, and what each can bring to the advocacy table, and clarify what our priorities and goals will look like going forward and who will lead what. Also, what kind of resources we will need. And then DSDHH and UAD will discuss an action plan, come up with some committees, and 2 possible bills that we are hoping to bring next year. One is a mental health bill, and a second is a senior assisted living, which is a longer term goal, but we do have a committee led by Stephen Persinger. So he's leading that, a senior citizen assisted living center. So, and figure out where that funding would come from. And lastly, the last 2 things of the Northern Center is having their bathrooms remodeled, all 4 bathrooms. It's been 25 years since they've been remodeled, so we're excited for that. I was planning to show pictures, but I will show you what we're doing with the Southern Center. I went, the four of us staff went to the Southern Center a couple of weeks ago and looked at the remodel and just worked with some of the staff there. Since the pandemic, I haven't been able to meet all the staff. And so I'm going to show you a video and some pictures because I'm sure some of you have never even seen what the Southern Center looks like. So it's just a quick video and some pictures I'd like to share. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those after the video.
And Julie, we can switch. So that's the Southern Center and what it looks like. It's a little bit of a mess because they were working on moving some things around, and the UIP testing center they were working on remodeling that room. So Southern Utah will have more opportunities to take interpreter certification testing. Trenton March, the UIP manager, went down also to Dixie State University and presented about what we'll be doing down there for students to be able to take testing, and we'll be able to have more opportunities for community and stuff. So that's my updates. If there are any questions, let me know. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry, can I be spotlighted again? There we go. The positions. I wanted to tell you really quickly about the positions. So we have a certification specialist assistant will be opening soon. A full-time CDI position will be opening soon. The youth and family program specialist will soon open, and for the Southern Center, a hard of hearing specialist. So all of these positions will be posting soon. The interpreter thinks I missed the first one, I think. First position. Oh, the employment specialist.
This is Justin. Thank you for explaining the new positions. I had a question on the Sanderson Center. You're updating the bathrooms. I was just curious what that update might look like. I was hoping it'd be a little brighter and easier to see in there.
Yes. It's been a long process. So we went and looked and picked out some more modern looking things. Melanie, myself, and Adam made some decisions. So we picked some colors. So it will be brighter and a little more modern and just fresh feeling. So once we get an opportunity, we'll show it to you and you let me know what you think. So. Is Annette next? Melanie's asking. Annette, are you? Oh wait, we're on Stephen now. What's happening? Oh, okay. Thank you. I apologize for interrupting, but I have some important things to speak to Arlene about in front of the group. Okay. So I would ask Melanie to please read the DSDHH values and emphasize respect. So please, could you please read that for us? Okay, so respect means treating other people with dignity, so Arlene, well, before you took the job as assistant director for DSDHH, there was another director in that position, Marilyn Call, and then also after that, Dan Mathis. Both of them never acted the way that you did a month ago. So when I asked a question, you interrupted. You did not show me respect. You did not allow me to answer. You labeled me as being tactile and touching a lot of things. It was very offensive. So I wish you had not labeled me in that way. And I also wish that you had been more patient with members to allow them to finish asking questions before you jumped in to answer. So it happened a couple of times, happened 2 times. So first you insulted the committee, and secondly, you insulted me in labeling me as tactile. And then also, you were talking to me without me knowing, which was disrespectful. And then we're very off topic. So please do not do that again. And I cannot see him. And the interpreter missed the very last part of what he said, sorry.
He mentioned making sure they follow the respect issue that they just read.
Thank you. Yeah, so please follow DSDHH values and practice what you preach. So I don't know if Arlene maybe forgot and was just talking without thinking, but those DSDHH values are in place and emphasis and respect is emphasized.
This is Justin. Thank you, Stephen, for bringing up that important point that we do need to be respectful with each other. Let's move forward to the item on the agenda. Annette will be presenting on the Client Advocacy Services Manager. Annette, will you be signing or need the interpreter?
So could I have permission to share PowerPoint? Okay, am I hearing now? Okay. So we are community advocacy services or client advocacy services. Either one works, but really the official title is community advocacy services. So a month ago, Arlene had said we were doing the vaccination clinic for those age 70 plus. For the first dose, we had 65 people. And then for the second dose, we had 66 people. One person had said that they would prefer to get their second dose here at the Deaf Center rather than at a place with other hearing people, which was awesome. That was the goal. So in our strategic plan, sign language counseling, ASL counseling, the list is being updated so that we have those listed. So that is in progress now. Tomorrow, the employment specialist interviews will be happening tomorrow. So hopefully we'll find a good candidate so that somebody who can fill Pamela's very strong shoes that she's left. We recently got approval for a temporary communication assessor. So that will be an awesome benefit to the deaf community. For people that don't have a lot of language, they can be assessed. So we can figure out from their background, how they grew up, their family situation, their education, put all of that into place, along with the second part of assessing any lip reading or speech skills, as well as sign language reception and finger spelling reception skills, and reading and writing and English literacy. We can put that into a matrix, and that will show where their skills are the strongest and where their skills are the weakest, which can be very beneficial for voc rehab. We've had 3 or 4 courts that have requested such things, Social Security. The list goes on and on. There are many people who can benefit in different places from this. So several counselors have also requested this, and that would be beneficial for them. But the recommendation will be, we don't necessarily need to know share people's backgrounds, but we'll be able to pass off something to other people who can adjust and create accommodations for people as they need based on those recommendations. So we have not yet confirmed, but April 6th and May 4th, we're looking to have, we believe the governor will open up vaccines to any age, 16 and over, age 16 and over, and then 18 and over. So the vaccine clinics, which of those they will open up, whether it's age 16 or 18 plus, we're not sure, but also as well as anyone in the state should be able to get it at that point. So they're going to take some limitations off from what we hear in April for our area. And then also Arlene has mentioned we have the senior citizen assisted living. That's been a goal to figure out how to solve this problem because our seniors are very isolated. If we could get people living more together, that would reduce depression and isolation. It would be awesome. So we're hoping that we can make that happen. The hard of hearing specialist for Southern Utah, that position will be opening soon. And then also several hard of hearing assistants throughout the state. I think we currently have 3 vacancies, I believe. Shelley, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah. wait. Okay, there we go. Right now we have somebody in Monticello, which is the southeast portion of the state, and she goes up to Moab and covers all that area. We have one that teaches, we have 3 that are in the Salt Lake area that are teachers. And we have 1 in Utah County. And we have 1 right now in the northern part of the state, but she unfortunately just turned in her resignation. And she wants to pursue some of her personal goals. So we'll be hiring for somebody up there. We have several places that are open, and we are kind of waiting for the pandemic to subside a little bit so we can start in-person things, and then we'll go out and hire in all the other the distant areas again. Is that good?
So this is our team. There's myself, Stephen Persinger, Lori, Manel, and then Diego Acosta. Missing there is the employment specialist. And Shelley also is not on this page. Sorry about that. So, any questions?
This is Justin. I do have a question. When you mentioned the ASL counseling list, I'm not sure I understood what that was. Could you please clarify?
Sure. So we keep a list. It used to be much longer, but it's kind of been cut. So counselors, we keep a list of counselors who sign. Some it's pretty minimal sign language to some that are fluent ASL users. So it's on a bit of a range, but we do keep a list of people who know sign language, who are counselors, mental health counselors. So I believe there's about 14 or 15 of them. Oh, actually, I believe it's 17. I think it's 17 currently. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. We'll go to Martin now.
Okay, so not tonight, but I'm wondering next time if you come to advisory council, if you could have some numbers. So I'm a numbers guy. So like the number of cases that you do that you meet with on average each month, and if there are any goals to increase those numbers, that'd be okay. Thank you. Annette, right now we are missing an employment specialist. So our case support and everything is kind of that position is being divided between all of our workers. So it's made some of our other numbers a little bit lower just because they're having to do extra work. And then also doing things virtually. Oh, I also forgot to add actually the VITAC right now, the VITA, the tax help is running. So if you know anyone who wants to have taxes done here, have them call the front desk or get in touch with Lori or Ron Nelson. They're both involved. Looks like Kim. It's a great report. I like having the general idea. One thing that I feel a little bit offended with the slide that you have pictures, a picture with like the ear with the sounds thing. I didn't like that on that slide. That felt very oddest to me, that picture with the things coming out of the ear. So it seems, I think the deaf community could feel that that was offensive and oddest. So, because it focuses so much on the ear. So that's just a recommendation to maybe remove that picture, just some feedback. Just wanted to give that feedback, okay? Bye. So this is Annette. I respect all deaf and hard of hearing. That picture was for the hard of hearing specialist. It wasn't meant for the deaf. So it at all, it wasn't, I'm aware of the difference. So I know there's the deaf pride and hard of hearing sometimes, you know, they are working on what doesn't work with the ear in that community. So I do understand the difference. Thank you. And I apologize. Kim, all right. So am I good? Turn the time over, I think, to Pamela.
Crystal, I'm up.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much time I have for my part. Melanie, how much time do I have? So I know whether to kind of speed things up or if I can expound in some areas. You 10 to 15 minutes, you're good. And can you give me permission to share my screen? And Melanie says, sure, I'll do that. It's all yours. Oh, it's difficult sharing the screen. That makes everybody else so small. Your videos are very small now. So let me try to pull that so I can stretch that out a bit so I can see everyone. Well, first of all, I just wanted to talk about, there are two main categories under CEO, which stands for Continuing Education and Outreach. That includes media as well. So outreach, we have Mitch Moyers, Ron Nelson, and Gideon. Gideon is our specialist in editing videos. Now for activities and events, we have Mary Beth. We also have Diego as a part of that team. Diego jumps between two of the departments. He's a very popular guy. And so I just wanted to talk about a few updates. We recently had our very first virtual parent-teacher conference, and the theme was engaging families in education. We had 44 people register, and with people, we had a variety of speakers, and some registered from all over the country. Some from Iowa. We had people from Georgia, California, Riverside, California, so we had people from out of state, which was impressive. We were glad to see that and offer that here. We had some really wonderful presenters. We had Michelle present. We also had Rachel Posner, who is on the show Deaf Out Loud, with that spotlights the 3 different families with deaf children. We also had Rachel Coleman present. We had Shelley Wyatt and Sue Ordonez present. Annette also presented about her department so parents can become familiar on what services are available for their children. So it was very successful. And we also modified our newsletter. We want it to become more interactive for their community. Instead of just spitting out information, we want it to become more fun and engaging and exciting for people to look at. So we call it the CEO News Flash, which will provide different updates as far as what we're doing. So that way the community is aware of what we're involved with. We will also be collecting updates from our different departments and sharing that so people know what's going on in the CAS department, with the FMO department, as well as the UIP interpreting department. I have asked Nellie, who leads, she's one of the senior citizens, to write up articles monthly to represent the seniors. And so we're excited about having that included. We also have the Circle of Friends, which is a unique program that focuses on adults who are deaf plus who have additional disabilities to provide education, activities, and events for them. And we have asked them to also submit articles so people can become more familiar with what that program has to offer, and so that they are also included. And from here on out, we will be giving a summary of meetings where the division attends or sends a representative. We will be sharing what happened at that meeting. For example, the State Rehab Council, we will give a report from the VR statewide agency and get their updates. And then that will be shared in summary in the newsletter as well. Also, the UTA CAT, the Transportation Committee for Accessibility will be shared. We have a representative from our center who's on that committee, and they will share the information, as well as a representation from the deafblind. We also have EHDI, Early Hearing Detection and Intervention. And we will also be sharing who we have been doing networking with. We have recently worked with the FBI, and they have been very impressed and have asked us to come back and present to them and to all the special agents within the state of Utah. So that will be happening soon. So we look forward to that. We are also adding a section called Technology Talk, and that's where we will be giving updates of any new current apps, any new equipment, and things that we feel are advantageous to the deaf and hard of hearing community, because it can be very challenging trying to keep up with technology. So this is a great place to have the experts. We'll have both Ron and Mitch working on that. If we're identifying any new apps or information, will be shared there. That way people are more up to date with technology. Last, but certainly not least, we will have a community. We want the community to share information. For example, maybe your favorite recipes can be shared. We could also, if you've gone on vacation and any photos you'd like to share, or art, or any stories you'd like to share. So that's all in the works, and we are figuring out how we will, what the guidelines will be for that. We are very excited about that section. So I've mentioned what we're doing with our outreach. Like I said, we've presented to the FBI. We have the UVU dental program. We've educated them how to work with deaf and hard of hearing patients. We're doing outreach in more of the rural areas, answering their questions. If they want to hire a deaf or hard of hearing person, how do they accommodate them? What is the best way and what are the best options to accommodate that? And so we share with them ideas and feedback on how to make that experience more successful. And now, as far as media, we have produced 8 different videos, and our goal is to do many more. And so that's an exciting new part for us. And we will be receiving training on how we can edit. And Gideon is right now the only one doing that, so we need to share the load with that. So others will be trained on that. We've also done some remodeling of our studio. We have a green screen or green wall, as well as a large TV monitor for PowerPoints. We have a touch screen that we can use, a smart board. And now, as far as some upcoming events, we have had paint night that will be coming up March 25th. We'll have an internationally recognized artist, Nancy Rourke. So we're very excited to have her. I told Mary Beth and Diego we'd like to have more renowned people. We do have people in Utah, but we'd like to bring in other presenters to share their expertise and their talents with us. And that way we can learn from one another. We will have our very first deaf-blind town hall talk. And Talk to Us is what it is called. And that will give us the opportunity for the deaf and blind community to share their ideas, their concerns, and how we can become more inclusive. What do we need to provide more of for that community? So we're looking forward to that as well. We also will have our surprise egg hunt. You can see we have many events coming. And on this list, you can see some events that are happening in the Southern Center. For example, Diego has coordinated deaf studies talk and bringing in experts and people who are versed in deaf related issues. Then Dr. Ballard, who is a professor at Utah Valley University, he's a coordinator there, will be presenting. So we look forward to that. Let's see, what else can I share? I believe that's it. So as far as the virtual conferences, we had 44 people register. And as far as the number of classes we had an average of about 30 people register for some of the different classes, depending on what classes. Some were very popular and some maxed out at 40, and other classes had maybe 5 to 10 participants. So we will monitor that and see what's the most popular and see where we need to make some changes, whether we need to do more advertising or maybe change the topics to engage more of the community. So that will be, we will constantly be looking at that and making any revisions. Any questions? Did I bore you all?
This is Justin. You mentioned that you're doing an outreach with the FBI and training their agents how to deal with deaf and hard of hearing. Have you been able to do any outreach with the local or state police departments?
We are working on that currently. We are working out to the local police agencies and seeing if we can come and present. One thing we do know is that the Salt Lake City Police Department has been working very hard on that. And so Sago Lily has been working on that. So we don't want to overlap. We want to work together on that. So we're looking at working in partnership so we don't step on anybody's toes. So we're checking with Sago Lily Center for the Abused Deaf on that. And then Shelley, you had a comment or question?
Yeah, okay. Yes, I just wanted to say, don't forget the shifting perspectives through deaf and hard of hearing experiences that Diego's making on May 5th. That's an exciting upcoming panel too.
And Pamela says yes. Thank you, Shelley, for reminding me of that. I didn't get an opportunity to go through each of them, but you're right, Shelley. This will be the first panelist we'll have both deaf and hard of hearing panelists and providing their perspective. We should also have a deaf blind person share their experience of what it feels like to be deaf, and then for a hard of hearing person, what their life experience is. And I joined the hard of hearing chat, and it's been so interesting to get their perspective and the discussions that are had there. And some experiences are shared, I understand, and some are new to me. And so I feel like this could be a bridge to both the deaf and hard of hearing communities, because we don't want a division. We want them to come together. And so Shelley and I are working on that, and I'm very excited about that. Shelley does an awesome job. Arlene. I just wanted to add, we also have the Deaf Blind Town Hall coming up in April as well. Oh, you did include that. I just think it's important to emphasize to Stephen that we are hosting that, and that we are trying to include, be more inclusive with the deaf blind. And Stephen, I will email you a response later. Thank you. This is Pamela. I did forget to mention that starting with the staff internally, Shelley has started including me as well as Mary Beth in discussions with Laura Benge, who works with the deaf blind. And so she came out for 2 hours and talked we had an in-depth discussion about deaf blind needs and how we can be more sensitive to their needs and identify how we can advocate more for them. And so we are currently in the process of trying to reserve the date and time where Laura can come out and provide training to the DSDHH staff. And from there, we will provide more training for external members. And for the panel currently, we'll have the deaf blind, and then, I'm sorry, for the panel, we'll have deaf and hard of hearing first. This will be this is a new program, and eventually we will add a deaf blind perspective on the panel. So we definitely want to include all members of the community, and have as well as people of color, and just provide different workshops to highlight their culture and provide information to them and get their perspective, and some who, you know, struggle with ASL or writing English. So there's so many things on my list that I'd like to do, but right now, do we have any more questions? And Arlene says, I have more of a comment. I know with COVID this past year, the staff has been working on the mission, vision, and core values, and we do recognize that there's been some sensitive issues that we're really trying to practice and walk our talk so that our community can really look to us as the example. And so we are in constant discussions on how we can provide programs and services without offending anyone and not show bias. And that's always tough as a deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf blind community, but our goal is to work towards that. I just really want to emphasize that. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela.
Pamela, did you have more?
Oh, I'm finished.
Thank you, Pamela, for all that information. I'm excited that we have so much outreach and activities going on in the community now, even with COVID going on. And it looks like Stephen has a question.
Yeah, I've been thinking that I wanted to ask both Arlene and Pamela. So my understanding is that we're going to have the first deaf blind town hall and have some discussions and bring in some professionals. But what bothers me, I don't know if Arlene and Steve Wynn from the Blind Center, if there's any goals of partnership in providing services for the deaf blind. I'm just wondering, last Monday, Arlene and Steve, if you've met, if you have any ideas, is that on hold? Or are we waiting for the town hall for that? I'm just wondering where we're at. This is Pamela, and I hope that I was able to understand your comment. Yes, we have shared the deaf blind information with Steve Wynn about the town hall. And we've also invited his staff to participate and observe. That way they can also benefit from this, not just us as the center, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center, but they can also participate and be educated. That's the goal. And we have been working close with Ramona, who has been wonderful to work with. She's been a great resource on how to provide outreach to the deaf and blind and those who have low vision. So again, she's been a wonderful resource. I hope that answers your question. Or did I miss anything? And Stephen says, one more question. How many have registered since you've advertised this? I'm just curious how many deafblind have registered. And Pamela says, as of now, if I remember correctly, I believe we have 5 deafblind, but about 4 or 5 other people who also provide services who want to come and observe and learn. So we're planning to do more advertising, and we just finished the conference. That's out of the way. Now we can put our focus more on advertising and trying to draw in more deafblind community members for this town hall. If you have any suggestions on how we can get the word out, let me know. We've reached out to a variety of deaf-blind, and the blind newsletter. I think it's the NB National Blind Association. I'm sorry if I'm not getting that right, but Ramona gave us quite a bit of contacts to send that out. And I can share that with you, Stephen, and you can let me know if there's anyone we missed or any agencies we've missed. And Stephen says, thank you. This is a good place to start, and hoping that as time goes forward, we'll have more people participate and register. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Pamela? Seeing none, we'll move to our next item. That is USOR update from Sarah Brenna.
Sorry, of course, my cat is going to walk by right when I'm coming on. Thanks, Justin. Just a few things that I wanted to update you on. I know she's being needy right now, but her name's Molly. Anyway, so let me get back. Yes.
Can we
First,
stop the interpreter, please? Sorry, Sarah.
I'm sorry, what?
I just wanted to see if we could get the other interpreter spot. Just Julie.
Okay, yep.
Thanks.
Luckily, I haven't said anything important yet, so thank you. Okay, I wanted to just give you guys a few updates, but before I do, I wanted to just really tell you how happy I am with the staff at DSDHH right now. I mean, it's been a year since COVID did start, and I know we get tired of talking about it, but it really did change how we do business. And I think Annette maybe played down all the work that they've been doing. And even though our numbers might look a little different here and there, I think considering the big picture, we've done a lot of work. And just because we didn't do it in the center, it was still happening. And people have been spread thin. They've been doing multiple jobs. And I think that they've done a really good job. I did want to mention that at the next meeting, I'll talk to the co-chairs when we plan our agenda for the next meeting to see if they're okay with this. But one thing we do have is like a USOR dashboard. And each division does submit certain data elements to it. So we track, how many services we're providing, how many interpreters we certified, and we have that for the whole of USOR. I will say, though, that one of the goals we have for this next year is to better align the strategic plan with some of our performance outcomes. So I think it's great, and we should show you what we've been tracking so far. But I just want everyone to know that some of those may be changing based on the direction that we're heading, as it should, over the next few years with our strategic plan. And our goal, Arlene and I were actually just talking about this the other day, would be to ask for some of your advice and input on some of those things. We have some challenges in terms of how we collect data and what data we collect. And there could be some opportunities to change how we do that. So I look forward to a good discussion about that in the future. Let's see here. I did attend several of the sessions from the Parent-Teacher Conference. I thought some of the speakers were amazing. I learned some things. It was nice to hear from the presenters. I forgot, I was going to ask Pamela, but I didn't want to interrupt, when we might have some of those recordings posted online. I think that, we can reach a much broader audience if we put some of those on our website. So, but it just happened. It was just this weekend. So we'll give you a little time to figure all that out, but we'll make sure we share it with the advisory council. Go ahead, Pamela.
Yes. So yeah, we have a lot of videos. So there were 3 sessions per hour. So we will edit some things. We've got a pretty rough beginning, but we can kind of clean some stuff up just to make sure captioning's clear and all of that, and then we can start sharing them. I'm hoping by the end of next week, but there are a lot of videos, so we'll see how much we can get done in that amount of time, and you'll probably see some things coming up, and then we can include the advisory council if you ask for that. We can let you know when they come up.
Thanks, Pamela. Okay, what else do I have on my list here? I was jotting a few notes as I listened to the different presentations. We are currently doing interviews, finishing interviews, I think, for the deaf-blind specialist at DSBVI. Arlene has been involved in the interview process with Steve Wynn. So they'll be deciding what they may do next in the near future. We also are having a really hard time recruiting SSPs, service support providers. They are individuals that we manage at DSBVI that support our deafblind clients. And we are in desperate need of some resources in Provo. So maybe we can send out a job description to this group for the job announcement. You might be able to help us advertise. It's only 10 hours a week. I think it's around $17 an hour, but it might be good for students or others. So I'd love to have some help from all of you of getting the word out there. Pamela?
Yes, just to briefly mention about the SSPs. In my experience as an employment specialist in the past, people look at the hours and they just think it's not enough work. So that's really part of the problem. If it was closer to 20 hours, they probably would, but being about, when it's about 10,
Yep.
that is a big challenge, just so you know.
Yeah, oh, I can imagine. It is not a well-funded program, and that's what we have, but that's a good point. Thanks, Pamela, for that. Okay, now I'm going to pull up an email so I can give you a little bit of a legislative recap. Oh, Stephen.
So Steve Wynn and I talked in a staff meeting about the recommendation for the deafblind people who are newly using specialists to maybe go to Salt Lake Community College and UVU, have them, when that person is in their new job, go do some recruiting at some colleges for SSPs, as well as maybe make a video and some training videos and things like that, because those things haven't, in our experience, those things haven't happened. People see a deaf-blind person on a video or something, and then they are inspired to go meet a real live deaf-blind person, but then they're nervous. So I believe deaf-blind people, if they could go in maybe and meet some students, and they could see how people work together with someone who is deaf and blind and see tactile sign language happening live, I think that may overcome some of that fear. And then you may have more people willing to participate in trainings. And that's not just something that happens here, that's something that happens everywhere. That's just one thing to emphasize, that, services for the deafblind, we have Seattle, the deafblind, the DBAC up there, that they open and advertise for positions, and people come in and they learn about it and they volunteer, and then people are more willing to apply because they've seen it happen more often. So we're not alone in having a hard time recruiting.
That's a very good suggestion, Stephen. You must have given Steve the idea, because he and I talked about that just yesterday. So very good idea. Thank you.
No, I don't know that he doesn't listen to me. I don't think.
Well, maybe he listens to you more than you think. I'm listening to you though. I think that's great. Good idea. Okay. Okay, just a quick update on the legislative session. I'm never quite sure what the most interesting to you is. The department is such a big animal and so many different areas, but I'm going to try to boil it down to a couple of things that I think that you might be interested in. One of the main things that we've been involved in over the last couple of years, as you know, is homelessness. That's been a big area of focus for the department. We have the Housing and Community Development Division within Workforce Services, and we've been very involved in some of the homelessness efforts. There was $50 million that was actually allocated to help with affordable housing and homelessness, which will actually bring in over $730 million in a combination of public and private funds. So that's a really big infusion of low-income housing and money that would help with some of those things. So I believe that was something that would have passed before, and then COVID hit and they got rid of all the budget and started over this year, but at least it's passed now. So that'll be great. Some of you also heard about the agency realignment. They've combined the Department of Health and Human Services. Wow, what a big change. I'm really happy that we had our change 5 or 6 years ago, and we are not having to go through that again. We feel for them. We understand that that's a really big change. But I think it'll be fine. It's going to be hardest on those who are involved in the transition. The goal would be to really keep services to the public the same, and hopefully it'll be seamless for the public. There was some discussion about moving some more of Medicaid over to DWS. What ended up coming over was about a dozen staff, about 12 staff, who are going to join DWS who do appeals, because we have an appeals division, and some of the policy staff that work in Medicaid. The healthcare financing and where all the money is, that's all staying with the Department of Health and Human Services. And if you didn't know, we've actually been doing Medicaid eligibility at DWS for over 10 years. That was a change that was made a long time ago. But this will just align a few more pieces with the eligibility process to hopefully make it a little more streamlined. But there shouldn't be big changes relating to how the public interacts with Medicaid. Okay, there is a new Office of Homeless Services that will be under DWS. This is a office that's pretty much made of existing people that are kind of throughout our department, but it's trying to organize them around homelessness so they can focus more on that effort. They also created a liaison or director in the governor's office that will advise the governor and also work with this office. So most of the change had to do with how they're going to govern homelessness resources across the state, and hoping to get a better handle on how to make improvements to the system. There were a lot of little bills, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I think I would rather ask you if you have any questions about this past legislative session. We did not lose any money that we didn't give back because of, maybe we hadn't spent all the money or something, but our budget has been maintained. The budget is not being reduced, or FTEs are not being reduced. So we're happy about that, and things are looking good for our division. So, okay, that's all I had to report, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, thank you.
Justin, I don't see any questions. Thank you for sharing that information, Sarah. The next item on the agenda is community updates and other business. Anyone have any community updates they would like to share? We'll start with Shelley and go to Stephen.
I just want to say that a couple months ago, we went to a disability self-advocacy day, and one of the speakers there was Stacy Stanford. She's from the Utah Health Policy Project, a sustainable healthcare solutions for underserved Utah. And so I thought she was really interesting, and we invited her to speak on March 31st from 6:30 to 7:30. She will present on updates from the legislature, also on state and federal healthcare issues, including COVID-19, and with a focus on the impact of Utah's disabled community. And we have interpreters, we have CART available, so I will stick the registration site in the chat window. Thanks.
This is Stephen. So I think maybe I first need to let Michelle and Kim speak, and then I can add on any issues with bylaws and reporting and any important discussion. I'm in the committee for bylaws. There are things we don't understand, why there's been so much opposition and why other things haven't been put in with executive members choosing members. So there's some things I want to discuss after with Michelle and Kim, if they can stick around and we can understand some things from the bylaws committee. Hi, this is Kim. So first, happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. Anyone not wearing green is going to get pinched. Anyway, I wanted to announce that UAD has decided, and the announcement will be coming for the upcoming UAD conference, October 30th. So really it's October 29th, Friday night, and then all day Saturday, October 30th. The theme for the conference will be frightful experiences, reality versus a barrier-free world. So that's our theme of the conference. So look for the advertising that will come out soon, and hopefully most of you will be able to come. I think you might get the idea of the conference. It will be an in-person conference, not virtual, unless something else goes awry and we need to go back to virtual. But at this time, we are planning on an in-person conference, just so you know. It will take place either at DSDHH or maybe some other place that we can use. So we'll just see how things go and we'll keep you posted. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's Michelle Tanner. So first thing I wanted to talk about is we have a huge list of available positions. So please spread the word about these. Our JMS director position, Amy Breinholt, has decided that she wants to go back to teaching. So we understand it's a difficult position. So she has made her decision to go back into the classroom as an instructor, and she's an amazing instructor. So I'm excited for her. But then at the same time, our assistant director position is available as well. Nate has always wanted to teach adults. And so we have another area that we could use his with curriculum instruction. So he's going to switch into another position doing that, which leaves those two positions available. So please spread the word that we are recruiting. We'd love to see some amazing new people in each of these positions to replace those two who've been doing that for a while. And also, JMS has 3 available teaching positions, 1 in the preschool, 1 in the elementary, and 1 in the high school. So we are recruiting for those 3 positions as well. So if you know any awesome teachers, please spread the word to them. Related services, we will have a SLP, speech language pathologist position opening up, as well as another school counselor position, full-time position, as well as a 3rd audiologist position. But there are 2 audiology positions available because we requested some legislative money to add another position in audiology. So that's pretty much it, but yes, that's it. So we also have 3 available positions for St. George. So as you know, I'll probably know, St. George has been growing, right? So we have 2 classrooms there, and then a itinerant teacher who travels. So we have a couple more positions and 1 more itinerant teacher that will be posting. So it's a great job. We are now looking to find places to move classrooms as well. So we'll see how things go. And then lastly, we have a PIP, the Parent Infant Program, the PA, Parent Advisor. So there's one available position there as well. Like I said, we have a lot of empty positions, so please spread the word. People can look at our website. If they're interested, you can get in touch with me. I'm also happy to share positions with anybody who asks so that you can pass them on. Graduation will be May 26th. If anyone is interested in attending to see what it looks like, it'll be during the day. It'll be at 11. So you're welcome to come watch. Also, 7048 activity will be coming up. So it's a competition with some other high schools across the country. It's a boating competition. We don't have water here, but they build a boat and then the next week they'll go to Lake Powell to practice rowing that boat for about 4 days. And then in June, the team will go to Tacoma, Washington to compete against some other schools. So we aren't expecting to win. This is our first time participating, but we'll see how things go. We have 4 deaf and 4 blind students, so it should be a really interesting group. The reason we didn't have enough deaf students interested, so we recruited some of the blind students to share in that. So yeah, we'll just have to see. You have to have at least 8 on your team. So that's how we put that together. Also, was it AG Bell? Sorry.
April.
Sorry, April 15th and 16th, we'll have our first National Deaf High School Theater Competition. So there are 16 other schools that are involved. It will be virtual, but some people will be presenting, there will be workshops. We have Deaf West. Shane.
Sunshine 2.0.
Sunshine 2.0, performer from RIT will be coming. And then Alexandra Wales, and Michelle Banks. And Antoine Hunter will all be there to provide workshops. So it should be amazing, and we're hoping we can see that grow. This is the first year. Hopefully next year we can recruit and have people come in person, which will be nice. So thank you, and that's it.
Crystalina.
This is Justin. Thank you for that update. Pamela has another item to discuss. We'll go to her.
Yes, very briefly. I just wanted to share something that's really exciting. And NBC Universal, Spanish-speaking news has contacted us, and it wants to ask us about the deaf and hard of hearing, how we've navigated COVID. And so Arlene will be interviewed, and that will take place on Monday. So looking forward to that. And that will be on the news. I'm not sure whether it's will be on TV Live or if it will be video. So very excited for Arlene to be a part of that.
Thank you, Pamela. Any other community updates or business? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Stephen.
So if there is no other updates, community updates or news, I would like to discuss the bylaws, the bylaws committee, and why they disagree and want to, why the executive committee has gone and chosen those people. And I think it's due to communication. We have people who have no experience, and so I would like to discuss that topic.
Stephen, are you asking to discuss that with the bylaw committee only or with the whole council?
Well, Martin Price is the chair of that committee, and Larry, why they have disagreed to add a new process for the executive committee, because the executive committee is choosing new members and submitting those new members to the council. And I think that it needs to be communicated during the meeting. I would like to see that added, but Larry disagrees with that, and I would like to know why. So I would like someone to respond to that. This is Martin. As the chair of the bylaws committee, I'm not ready to discuss that with the entire council because we're still in the works of discussing that with our committee, that we have 5 members of that committee. And so hopefully we will have that issue resolved by the next meeting so that we can share that with the entire committee so that we can vote on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. We'll have some time for that next month. Stephen?
Well, I'm asking Martin, will the members of the bylaws committee meet over Zoom and we will have a discussion before we come to a consensus and before you report next month? We haven't had any meetings lately, so I'm just wondering, will we have an opportunity to meet before then? And Martin says, thank you, Stephen. We need to spotlight Martin, not the interpreter. So again, thank you, Stephen. That's a good question. We have been having our discussions through email, and we will do that for now. And hopefully we'll have a Zoom meeting later on.
This is Justin. Yes, we do. Martin, if you need help setting up a Zoom meeting, Melanie and our can help us with that process. Is there any other?
And Martin says, yes, I am aware. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other business or community updates? Okay, I'm not seeing any. It is 6:27, so I think it's time to conclude the meeting. Do I have a motion to end the meeting?
Michelle says, I move to adjourn the meeting.
And Kim
And
seconds.
in seconding.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great evening and we'll see you next month.